Thank you for inspiring this poem, Luke. Judging Distances. The story of Duke, Isaac, and young Lancelot. Duke kisses his wife Tassie and slips on his one-piece uniform. He tucks into the cockpit of his F-16 for the day's work, every button and switch within reaching distance. He is judging distances. There is work and a mission set forth today, world order to follow. You see, it was raining shiny rocks in Afghanistan this morning. We are sitting over coffee, sipping on Verona's finest. Rainy day, September 2010. I receive coordinates, Duke tells me. Sometimes I do not know what country I am flying over. I fly there, I drop the bombs, and I am back home before lunchtime. I've skipped lunch for a whole week now, Duke. I have puked my guts out. He tells me of the fire that destroyed his apartment last year, how he arrived in time to see his wedding picture burning, falling off the wall, how he forever lost the set of knives Grandpa had gifted him, how all he was left with was the flight suit and Tassie's hand holding his. 15 years ago, we were all judging distances, yelling orders, telling each other to defend, more defense, and we lost every game but 2 that season. Once, when I was playing defense, Duke jumped high and collided his head onto an opponent's shoulder. I saw him falling down and in pain after the failed save. He was gone for 7 minutes that day, simply laying on the field. We cheered when he rose. We still lost the game. Isaac lives in Europe now. He shines shoes and carries papers for a high-ranking double-something officer high off the success of his booming career. I am basically a secretary, he tells me. And me, I am an observer, and I am judging, but I do not yet know it. Lance has taken the chance onto the freeway, numb freeway of spaced-out boredom, sucking old sick person pills like the old sick person he'd rather not be, but is on fast route to become. Time and again, he sees his face in the bathroom mirror. But who am I to judge? I have bought e-pills, prescription Vicodin, acid drops, Coke, and Fanta. I've reached for the nearest knife to cut out my eyes, to poke holes in my eardrums, to cut the flow of life, simply to feel all the pain fade away. Duke caresses the red tip like an ace of diamonds. A little Afghan boy jumps up at the excitement and the rush of speed. Young Lancelot falls down after the rush of speed. In a few minutes, an Afghan body falls after taking 2 steps on legs that are no longer there, without legs, with no way of judging distances. Look at the scope. Net gain 0 until you pull the eject button, Duke. Until you spit on and make mucky the shoes of your kind official, Isaac. Until the day you empty and tear down the drawers and the dresser and maybe even try to kill yourself and finally break down the walls, young Lancelot. Do you get the message here? Return to your unborn center. Be born again into the light. Fall, but do not fail. Open those wings and fly. Fly over Afghanistan with soft tips soaring. Fly over the molten rock and mineral pins and stripes and metal wings of your puppet officer, Isaac. Fly up from and leave behind your rock cave. Leave all your pills and powders in there, young Lancelot. Throw in the memos and the shoes and the orders and his uniform, and leave your officer standing outside in his underpants, Isaac. Order him to tell every Afghan brother and sister to leave their weapons behind and exit the cave. Throw in my pride. Throw in my 5-star ability to judge and my favorite knife. Now go reach for that red ace of diamonds, Duke. Blow the fuck out of that cave and let that plane which has never been you nor yours blast itself silly into those walls. Eject. Yes, eject at the last instant. Save your brothers. Save me. If you crash land, we will all run by your side and aid you in the language of love to leave the wreck behind, far behind. We will run like hell, away from hell itself, and tell everyone to hop the fence. Tell them to soar into the light. 2 years I sat on my judging field. With this unfinished poem, I began that rainy Verona afternoon. And then he did. Duke pushed the eject button, only that it happened after his F-16 had a slight glitch as he was on his way back home to hold his wife Tassie and the belly where 8 months and 1 week ago they had sparked the universe of creation, where little baby girl come to save this world concentrated on her third eye, trying to understand why daddy looked so clear and handsome so suddenly. You see, Duke pushed the eject button at that moment. Isaac arranged his suit, thinking about tomorrow in his closet. Young Lancelot cried once more as he swallowed an uncounted number of pills this time. I looked at the judging card ablaze in my right hand, and Duke flew high. He flew over the night sky and left the wreck behind. I was sitting in a car at the moment, in the driver's seat, reading into my favorite card, judging distances between myself and the girl I am looking to love. Do you realize you do these things? I had asked her, and I seemed to forget what the subject of the conversation at the moment was. Duke plunged down below the clouds and splashed into the water to ripple our unknown universe. In Afghanistan, the sky cleared. A young child woke from a dream that escaped him the moment he looked at the weapons by their side and wondered who handed this world over to him. The glitter came from his eye and from the reflection of that one and same star that shone down on all of us the moment Duke pushed the eject button that night. The fog was thick, the water cold. The saving parachute would no longer do. Duke disconnected it from his suit. His helmet had served its purpose. He unbuckled it and let it drift away. He let his hand fly gracefully over it in blessing. He let it grace the edges of his thoughts and thought of Tassie's hair, of the breath and life in her belly. And the search was on. Hundreds of humans looking for another human. Hundreds of brothers looking for another brother. We searched in the fog. We searched in the wind. We searched in the waters. We found the wrecked plane. The wrecked plane, Plain. We found the helmet. We found a parachute soaked in salty water. We searched one day. We searched all day. We searched 2 days. We searched 3. We searched 4. We judged the distances possibly traveled from the moment of that distress signal. We were all judging the distances. Little Afghan boy reached his finger toward the weapons by his bedside and had an urge to vomit as his daddy looked over and smiled. Duke became larger with each breath, with each rise and sway of the waters. He became the motion of the oars of the Italian fishermen who stopped fishing to search for him. He became the beeping sound in the headgear of the crew at the station headquarters. He became the flight of the birds over his favorite mountain. He became the embryonic fluid in the new life in Tassie's belly. Judge the distance just right this time, please. Slice me open to kill everything in me, but that seed of love shining in my heart. Hear the distress signal. Judging distances.